Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. This is Shannon with Magic Mentality. I am a Reiki practitioner and spiritual healer. Oh, you guys, I got another heavy video for you. So, last time we talked about sexual abuse in marriage after a baby is born or within your relationship. You don't have to necessarily be married for any of this information to count. But even though I am a Reiki practitioner, I am a spiritual healer. I got here through my own healing. And a big part of the healing process right now is leaving a domestic violence situation and bringing awareness to sexual assault and sexual abuse within relationships and marriages. So, first, I actually took a snippet from a YouTube video. And I'm just going to read through before I get to any of the videos. Huge trigger warning, guys. We are going to be very honest when it comes to sexual abuse, sexual assault, the body's response to that, because there are many of us who aren't even aware that we are being abused in our relationships. For whatever reason, it's like we just put these blinders on. And accept the behavior from our partners as normal. Now, this one talks about what you didn't know was a form of sexual abuse in your marriage. And these are some ways that they can get away with it without being arrested. If you didn't want sex and you wonder what was wrong with you, but it wasn't your libido, it was your nervous system, your body didn't feel safe because emotionally you weren't safe. You were constantly walking on eggshells, being blamed, ignored, criticized, gaslit, or made to feel small. So, of course, your desire shut down because intimacy requires trust, and your body knew that trust wasn't there. They didn't respect your no. They guilted you, shamed you, made you feel like you were broken for not wanting them. They made you feel like the problem, like something was wrong with you for not wanting to have sex. But how can desire grow where you're not emotionally safe? So you performed because it felt safer than rejecting them, because your nervous system believed it was the only way to stay safe. That wasn't consent. That was coercion. You deserve to heal in a space where your no is sacred. Where your no is sacred. Let me say that again. You deserve to heal in a space where your no is sacred and your yes is freely given. That last sentence is absolutely powerful. So powerful. Because these moments of intimacy, they are sacred. And everything has been so desensitized, especially when it comes to brutality and abuse towards women. At this point in our society is seen as normal. Like it's not abnormal to hear about sexual assault and sexual abuse to women. But what we are bringing better awareness to is these things happening within relationships, long-term relationships. Okay. So let's move on to our first video. Now, once again, this is another like commentary video within a commentary on one of the public offenders videos. I really enjoyed this creator, only because it is a black male who really talks about relationships. He talks about believing women. He talks about what men need to do better. There's so much content out on what women need to do better and what women should accept from relationships. And it's just really refreshing to hear a man come up and say, no, that it's not true, and that he addresses men directly and gives a platform to women's voices. In this particular video, definitely please go and watch it, because even though in the title it talks about like accountability and picking up the feces from a dog, everybody knows, everybody, all dog owners know how annoying that is, and that's something that we have to do. But it's just another play into the psychological and emotional abuse and abandonment within relationships that's being done towards women by men. And this particular video, at the end, the snippet here with this woman here in the glasses, it hit home with me. It really hit home with me with the symptoms that I was feeling in my marriage for basically the entire time I was married. And the default was to blame myself. So let's hear what this beautiful woman has to say.
This is what he fears. That her husband fears this happening in their relationship.
My ex and I were in couples therapy together. We were having issues with me not really wanting to have telling the counselor, like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I feel so averse to sex. I never used to feel this way, but now I'm starting to feel like I don't even want any sort of intimate touch. It makes me start to feel almost a panic feeling. I was so convinced that there was something wrong with me that I went as far as like, is it possible that I've like repressed a memory and like I'm having some weird like traumatic response from like a subconscious memory of some kind. This is actually one of the number one signs that there is sexual abuse or coercion going on in the relationship. Because what was happening to me and my body is
that right there, this panicked feeling, this anxiety and pulling back into myself and feeling like there must have been something wrong with me, or like there's something wrong with my libido. And when she mentioned like repressed memories, now I have shared on many different occasions that I have a lot of sexual trauma throughout my life from very early childhood. So I would just chalk it up to me just having to heal. I have to heal this. I have to heal this. When I would cry during sex, when I would feel dirty and nasty and guilty after sex, when I wouldn't want to have sex, when I would just totally shut down or disassociate during sex. I actually thought like this was just my sexual traumas coming up and causing interruptions in my marriage because I wasn't healed enough that I couldn't enjoy being with my husband. But the fact of the matter is that it's because the abuse was continuing. Is because I was still being sexually abused. I was still taking on sexual trauma. Yes, I'm sure my past traumas played a part, but for the simple fact that I wasn't safe. I wasn't emotionally safe. I couldn't trust my husband. That's why my body was reacting that way. And I honestly feel like because for the fact that I had so much sexual trauma is why the abuse was able to go on for so long in my relationship, because I would always just default to, yeah, I have to heal in order for this to get better. And it wasn't. It just wasn't. And I mean, I did a ton of work on my heart chakra. I did a ton of work on my root chakra. I was just doing any and everything that I could. And it was like as soon as I felt great, as soon as I felt better, as soon as I felt lighter, as soon as I felt like that pull and that want to be with my husband, right away it would just come back. And it was so frustrating being on like this hamster wheel, so to speak. It was really difficult.
Of the relationship, sex became less and less safe. So the more that I was in this relationship where things weren't safe, where I was being manipulated, where I was being gaslit, where I was being sort of guilt-tripped into saying yes when I said no, where I was being pushed to do things that I didn't necessarily want to, the more that my body was responding in that way to any attempt at intimacy or sex. Once I had the language and understanding for what subtle harm looks like, what subtle control looks like, what subtle manipulation and abuse look like, I was able to look back and pinpoint exactly what was happening.
I'm sorry for this spinning circle of
in my
death, guys.
relationship, which gave
Let's see if we can finish out her story quick. Really quick, guys.
resolve and understanding to why my body felt that way. With that language, I was able to take the blame and the confusion off of myself and stop wondering if something was wrong with me and see clearly that my body was reacting in a very valid way to covert sexual abuse. So that those times when he would do those things, like if I had said no and he pushed and pushed and pushed until I said yes over and over and over again, really messed up the way that I felt about sex without me really being able to pinpoint what it was. But once I had that language of like, oh, that's sexual coercion, it made so much more sense.
Bingo.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That bingo was right on time. Right on time. And when I saw this video, the relief that I felt, because honestly, at the time I was watching this, I had forgotten all about those feelings that came up. I was still chalking it up to my past traumas. And seeing this, it just felt so much better to know that I wasn't alone in this. That someone else had felt this way, had reacted this way, had gone through this in their marriage. And I too can look back and pinpoint those subtle points of control, those subtle points of manipulation, saying things like, I want to make new memories with you. I want to help you forget about all those bad things that happened to you. And that can be all well and good. That sounds so sweet. But the pushing and the disrespecting my no and the constantly guilt tripping me, constantly pressuring me, didn't make me forget about those things. It didn't make me want to make new, fun, beautiful memories with my husband. It brought those memories full force, and it gave me new traumatic memories. When we say no, it's no. It's not okay. Just because you're in a relationship with somebody, just because you're married, just because you have children together doesn't mean that you owe them your body. It just doesn't. It's wrong, and it's not okay to treat your significant other this way. And here is another video that I also got off YouTube. And this is another really great creator. And she brings awareness to these things too. But listen to this.
If your partner wants you to do things in bed that you hate, that person doesn't have respect for you. That person probably doesn't love you. In fact, that person probably has deep resentment for you or even hates you. What you want and need in order to please them and gets off of you doing things that you hate, hates you. That is not normal. Somebody who gets off of pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do hates you.
Very, very sobering words, extremely sobering words, and hurtful. But it's true. If your mate gets off on seeing you do things that you don't want to do in bed with them, there's something wrong. There's no love there. No one should ever want you to feel fear or disgust or sadness or guilt with something so intimate as sex. This person is supposed to be your best friend. This person is supposed to be the one that you trust your life with when nobody else can be around to help you. And if they find pleasure from your suffering, that is not love. And just because society may say that as women, this is our duty, just because some religions may say as women, this is our duty, just because all we see are women being used as tools of gratification, doesn't make it true. It doesn't matter how big, it doesn't matter how small. You don't have to be held down, you don't have to be beat up, none of that. The simple fact that they are gaining pleasure from the displeasure that you feel during intimacy, that's abuse enough. There's something wrong with that person. And there's no need to feel guilty. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with us. Having an aversion to sex when you are in a relationship with somebody that is harming you, that is abusing you, that is the normal way. Your spirit knows how to respond. And if your spirit is saying this is wrong, I don't like this, you don't have to do it. Love yourself. Love yourself more. Keep pouring into yourself. Because that is what got me to the point of being able to leave. To the point of being able to say no and let it stick. Yeah, it's still hard. It's still something that I'm struggling with. But all the healing that I've done got me to that point, and it helped me open my eyes and see that something wasn't right. Tell somebody that you trust what's going on so that you can have more strength and more perspective on what's happening. Start making a safety plan. Start making an escape plan. And in all of that, do as much as you can to pour into yourself and lean on your spirit team so that your spirit can be strong, so that you can move on. And so you can have measures in place so that the person who you're in a relationship with, who's being very abusive towards you, doesn't have a chance to hurt you or to stop you from leaving. There are many supports out there for us right now. Call the crisis line. Call different domestic violence shelters at moments that you are alone, that you're able to be safe to get that information. Whoever's watching this, if this is something that you're going through, just know that things will get better. Know that it's okay. It doesn't matter how long it's been. And that change is here. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. and tell me what you guys think. Love you. And remember, always love yourself. You are so worth it.